Very good, very good. But maybe.
Singapore's general election is by and large a highly social event. But the COVID-19 pandemic has forced society to embrace technology more than ever. For the first time, the general election will be primarily contested online. In June, the Elections Department announced campaigning rules to keep candidates, voters, and officials safe amid the COVID-19 outbreak. Physical rallies will give way to virtual ones at venues provided for live streaming. More airtime on national TV will be given to parties and candidates. Even before the announcement, political figures were already making arrangements to live stream videos and communicate through video conferencing platforms. In March, the Singapore People's Party set up a small studio to broadcast its videos.
Every single video I put out is a phase of testing. Social media space isn't a space for broadcasting. It is a space for engaging. So if you put a piece of content out and people are not responding, then something is wrong. Then you're defeating the purpose of doing it.
Despite investing in technology for online campaigns, experts say it is also vital for parties to capture and maintain the public's attention.
Once you try to move these rallies online, it will be very difficult to replicate that same kind of emotional connection with the audience. And so it is much more difficult for voters, I think, to have a sense of the authenticity and the credibility of the particular political party or candidates.
In a fiscal rally, the audience is a captive one. But when you have online rallies, it is quite easy for anyone, to move from one online rally site to another. And so it becomes important for parties to be really creative in terms of their outreach.
There were a few situations where I found Facebook Live is a good means of communication to my residents, where I can share about the latest happenings in the constituency. I can talk about issues that concern them. At the same time, give them accurate and the right information. After I did that Facebook Live, people were very appreciative. They sent notes of thank you to me, and some, when I met them on the ground, they shared with me how that Facebook Live actually kept them assured.
Technology doesn't allow us to touch anybody now at this time. No carrying baby, no kissing babies anymore. One of the things that we try to, should I say, quote unquote, humanize this process is to get people's participation. And that's why we have a forum, and we ask people to send in their questions, and then we answer their question during the forum itself. So a lot of things is as live as can be.
In line with safe distancing measures, the Elections Department rolled out new guidelines to reduce the time spent for voters at each polling station. This includes an e-registration system that scans voters' identity cards to reduce registration time. Voters will also have access to a website that provides information on the number of people at each polling station before they head out. Despite such measures, the fact remains that for this election, every vote will still be cast physically. To this day, Estonia remains the only country to provide the option of internet voting for its elections. For an election conducted during a pandemic, why has Singapore not digitised its voting process?
The fact that every vote can be seen, felt, and counted by the opponents and by the electoral officer, I think has a special significance to it. And then at the end of the process, the winner has a mandate, and the person who has not succeeded can accept that that is the decision and the outcome of decisions made by the electorate.
Singapore actually fared very well in terms of electoral digital readiness. which means that they have the infrastructure and they have the rules in place to monitor misinformation. However, given that Singapore has a not so good track record of data breach in the last 2-3 years, there will still be a possibility of nefarious actors who might want to hack into the voter registry.
Expecting an influx of online content, the Elections Department requires candidates and parties to declare the publishers and sponsors of their online advertisements. The department is also working with social media platforms to create stricter guidelines on paid internet advertising. Singapore's Protection from Online Falsehoods and Manipulation Act, or POFMA, also gives ministers the power to remove, correct, and block sites that spread misinformation. During an election, these powers are handed to chosen senior officials.
PLD has only given you all the rules and regulations governing how activities and campaign will be done in a mainstream kind of media, but not much has been said about what you can do on your social media accounts. But we do not know whether these hired digital consultants, what kind of methods are they using for data scraping? What kind of data are they using to monitor the different social media sites of political parties?
As technology grows more sophisticated, so does the nature of false information. After the 2016 US general election, deepfakes or videos that manipulate a subject's face or voice using artificial intelligence technology were widely circulated on the internet. Computer programmer Eugene So, who has made viral face filters on Instagram, demonstrates how such technologies exist casually in our daily lives.
For Instagram, is your camera feed, it immediately detects where all your facial points are, and then it kind of knows where your nose is, your eyes are, and then after that it will make a face mesh of a 3D face mesh of your face in their software. Then after that you can replace the face mesh with another texture which could be someone else's face.
How do you tell the real from the fake?
Sometimes you can straight away tell like there is some pixel stretching here and there when the deepfake videos, when their mouth move especially. I guess the mouth is the part that moves the most. Then you can see some stretching when they're trying to generate pixels that were not there. But the technology these days is getting really very convincing. So the best way is to start educating people about deepfake videos and getting them a bit more skeptical about the videos being passed around on WhatsApp.
Now, key question remains, will a digital election become the new normal? And how will this change Singapore's political landscape?
I think this is an important election in terms of knowing how online electoral campaign can translate to vote shares. This election will be a good test election to see how they can improve their digital campaign strategies.
This has the makings of a watershed general election. I think if parties want to remain relevant, parties need to define themselves in a sharper way, pick out what they regard as an overarching issue that voters can identify with, rather than what I would describe as a scattergun approach, where you try to cover as many different issues as possible. One thing would be to see what proposals the different parties have, to take Singapore forward in a post-COVID world.